right. So here, a little impromptu conversation with John Crowe. How are you doing?
Good. You? Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you. It is my birthday. And I thought we'd just have not like a set format, but just talk. John is a broker. He works with us at Spyglass, and he's been on the board of directors in Austin for a while. First of all, how's that going?
It's good. I mean, it's every day. It's something good comes out of it, and then you see a couple of potholes. So
yeah.
Sometimes they're bigger than others.
So since I left in 2019, I think it was, what's been happening there?
Probably on the plus side, the biggest thing we've seen during COVID was some of the ways we brought members into the fold a little bit better. And by that, I mean proactively going out when everybody's locked up with an incredible education campaign, and followed behind that and sort of undermining that was this focus on professionalism, creating better agents. We know the issues that we have as a profession. Not everybody looks up to us as one of the greatest there. And since we do have some low barriers to entry on the educational side, it's really nice when you focus on that as an association, get your members dressed up. So when they walk into somebody's living room to list a house for sale or meet with a buyer, there's a lot more trust in that because they understand these people are coming from a background of taking pride in what they do, right?
Right.
Getting educated, knowing the business inside and out, and then being very particular about what they understand in a market.
Right. Lots of opportunity for education.
Right. And that's one thing. And then the other side of it, of course, is some of these bigger things. There are these clouds about the business changing over the top of us. And those are the ones that are a little bit more difficult these days.
Yeah. Okay. Any news on that you talk about?
Well, there's just some lawsuits out there. You see some consumers taking task with some brokerages and the Department of Justice getting involved. Not
about price fixing or whatever. Right.
It's how representation occurred. If people want to go look at that, there's a case called Merle, and it's one that can give them, or Merle and Sitzer. Those are a couple that give an idea of what's going on. And, fundamentally our profession will be fine. I feel really good about that.
Yeah.
And like everything, every business faces some challenges. And it's how you look at those challenges. You either miss and go away, or you use that as an opportunity to pivot and go a different direction. I think that's the way we're headed.
Yeah. And I've always been, I used to do foreclosure listings a while back, and they pay 2 or 2.5, and agents would bitch about it. This is what happens when they bitch about it, right? I had an agent said, how would we respond to this? He had a text from another agent that said,
we don't have any standard. I mean, everything is negotiable.
Absolutely.
And people misunderstand that all the time. And I see these people will make these comments in different social media posts. Like, you understand that's wrong. Mm-hmm. To say that we have any particular
standard commission.
There isn't. It's you create it. I always laughed. My first broker said, yes, my commission's negotiable. You can always pay me more.
Yeah.
Starting from whatever base on it. But that's, the thing is, it's always that way. It's just how we have to do a better job as stewards of this profession of making sure that the community that we serve in every facet is educated properly on what we're going to do, from how I'm going to sell your house, how I'm going to help you buy a house, what my job is in those respects, turning that around, what your expectations of me can be, and how we actually get you to make the best decision possible. That's ultimately what it's about.
Yeah.
I've found this in the past. I've told clients every single time when I've had a buyer's representation, when this is on the buy side specifically, my what I get paid will never get in the way of you getting a home. And that's the way we ought to operate on.
Yeah.
Right. And what I've found time and time again is something comes around the corner that I do better by, and it's easier, and some things are a lot of work, and I make less on that. That's just the nature of this business. And I'd say if you look at any of the professions, kind of the accountants or lawyers, they're in there and they're kind of rolling up the sleeves. Some cases are difficult for an attorney, and they spend a lot more time and effort and money on that, where some are easy, slam dunks. It's just real estate's no different than anything else out there.
Yeah. So one of our agents sent me a text from an agent and said, how should I respond to this? And it was like, why are you, do you think you can get away, or something like getting to get away with paying 2%? And I said, I forget what it was, but the reply was, A, you should worry about what your client's needs are, and B, you're breaking anti-trust laws.
Right.
Yeah.
This goes back. This is why I think our association does a great job in that education focus. We're helping more people understand the issues that are going to make them more successful.
Yeah.
And when you're more successful in real estate, what does that mean?
Right.
More money, right?
Yeah.
More money, more freedom, whatever you want to call it. That all works out well. If you go in there with the idea, I'm going to cling to something that I believe is what is good for me, you're going to lose every piece of business eventually. That's just how it goes.
We're a service industry.
You show what you're worth. That's what we do. How much am I worth today?
Yeah.
You step in that room, you help them decide. And you know, we all have the plan. We go in there and what we're willing to work for, and what we're not willing to work for.
Yeah.
Just stick to your platform, stick with it, be confident in your skills, and
your number one job is to provide service to your client.
Right.
Focus on that and leave all the other bullshit aside.
Well, that's where I get stuck on that. I get stuck on that every single time because we worry too much about ourselves and a lot of this stuff. And I say this, I'm a crab when it comes to the state and the national organizations. They focus so much more. I'll get kicked in the teeth on this one there. I can't stand the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are campaign.
Yeah.
I will tell you this. I have never, in 16 years of doing this, of being licensed, never have I walked into any client and they've asked me, are you a real estate agent or are you a realtor?
Never.
They've never done that.
Nope.
So how about we focus a campaign that shows the value of what we do and not focus on something that makes us, when we go to NAR conferences, feel pretty cool that we can hop on a bus and look at it and there's a big R there. Celebrate that, but celebrate the ethical parts of that, the components of it that really matter. And that's what you can sell in a living room. And that's where you differentiate yourself. But to push that campaign, to push campaigns that focus on agents, that's not what it is. We serve a community. And how many times has everybody heard this? It's the biggest financial decision everyone's made. Well, you hear that. Make it count, make it matter. Make it matter to the people who you're serving.
Well,
when you do that, then guess what? It lifts the entire profession up.
And that's why we spent hours, possibly days, when we revamped a few years ago our core values, right? It's be smart, be all in, take action, and do the right thing.
Well, it's also a luxury you get for building a business. I mean, I think about this. We're all entrepreneurial, right? We started out, we're independent contractors, and we're earning a living, buying and selling real estate for people or with people. And you flipped houses. I've done that too. Yeah. You understand the attention to detail it takes to manage your business and work off a P&L. You built a brokerage, and when I started, I was the 19th guy here, and we're at 115 people now. Yeah. That takes a lot of effort. But that means you also run into a lot of frogs you had to kick out the door. A lot of people that didn't belong and didn't fit, because they didn't subscribe to that same idea. And when you put
the non-negotiables,
right? Once you put that on paper, it actually gives people and say, okay, I understand what it takes to belong with this group. I know what the culture is, and that culture is going to foster something that's going to continue to grow and blossom in the right way. Those people who don't want to get on board, that's okay. But if you're not doing something right, it's going to catch up to you. Yeah,
well, we had an agent that was causing some problems a while back, almost a year ago, and we were in our weekly EOS meeting, level 10 meeting, and we were talking about her, and I was asking Johnny, "What do you think?" And he goes, "Well, she's not smart, she's not all in, she doesn't take action. Maybe she does the right thing, but I can't even see that." Yeah, I'm like, all right, let's cut. Like, I mean, that's when you abide by a set of rules and values, and you constantly put them out there. Johnny does, of course, shout outs every week. Then it's just easier to have your whole organization. That's probably what bigger organizations or National Association of Realtors need to focus on.
The buy-in, right? Yeah, and I think we heard some of that yesterday, and it was impressive. I know you were on the conference call with Zillow talking about some of the things on there. Time and time again, the teams that are represented as successful are people who've actually said, this is what we're about. Yeah. And I've seen these organizations that bring in, a big team or buy a brokerage and they smash it all together. It's hard to find success that way because you're bringing in people who come from different parts with different expectations and a different way they've been running business. And you're trying to say, okay, everybody subscribe to this. And by the way, we're going to make culture happen. Yeah. You don't. You have to grow it. You have to grow it from the small spot and see it germinate and blossom. And
I've always said your culture grows organically. Yeah. You just have to steer it in the right direction.
Yeah, you're right. That's it. And too many people try to smash it together and say, we got it. And you see that not just in real estate, but anytime you see these acquisitions of companies across the corporate world too. They come in and these entrepreneurial types and others, who are used to one thing and it's different. It's I remember this back in the days when I was IBM, the suit and tie structure and casual Fridays or business casual Fridays, and the entrepreneurs coming in who've got great technology and were just absorbed by IBM. We're like, wait, what happened to the beer bash? We're not doing that anymore. Yeah. And it's hard to take that stuff away without the repercussions. Yeah. And the repercussions are people leave and your company will fail a little bit. But certainly you've got, it's one of the beauties about Spyglass is you've done it. You've taken your time to do it the right way.
Thank you. Well, we've made plenty of mistakes in the beginning, but
and more in the future, right?
Yeah, right. So getting, talking about the market a little bit, and you were on that presentation with the Zillow economist. Yeah. There was some good stuff there. They said, 2% benchmark target for inflation, which I thought that was actually lower than I thought the benchmark would be.
Me too.
Current is 4.7, excluding food and beverage. And then we went from 3%, these are my notes, 3% raise to 7 inside of a year. And current rates are from 6.5 to 7, right? And then, what's interesting is the headlines you've seen about Austin crashing. I mean, it's hilarious to me because nationally, values from the peak are down 8%. Austin's down 11.
But here's the problem with that. And we talked about this at RealtyHack at the beginning of the year. And it's one of those things that drives me crazy is first, we're bad stewards of information. We as real estate professionals, we chatter a lot amongst ourselves about, oh my gosh, the sky's falling down on us. And there's never the case. I know I worked through the last recession. I got started pretty much during that time. And it's just what I knew. This one will be no different. I sat through a conference talking about Austin market with a bunch of commercial guys. And one of the best things I heard, one of the local magazines here was doing the interviewing questions, and they said, what about the market? It's not doing well, and you've got all this extra space. How are you going to handle it? And he said, look, we've been here before.
Yeah,
we know what's going to go down. We're just saying, okay, how long will it be? A month? Will it be a year? Will it be a little longer than that? We're prepared for that.
Yeah.
So we got to calm down a little bit and understand that we're incredibly healthy. Austin still retains this quality of life that drives tens of thousands of people here every year to relocate and live. That's not changing. The job market's incredibly healthy here. So these headlines are just designed to grab eyeballs. And
clickbait.
I read an article in Fortune recently. There was some clown in there talking about how no investors are buying in Austin. Well, that depends on what you're looking for, but investors are still here.
Fuck yeah.
I get 6 or 7 texts a week from people saying, hey, I'm looking for residential stuff in addition to everybody else out there on the commercial side.
Yeah.
It's what are you looking for? What specifically? And that's never going to change.
You buy when the market's down, you sell when it's high.
Right.
Quite frankly.
And there's a great opportunity for that right now, right? Because we saw you went the 3.5 to 7% rates. Well, my take on that is we never should have been 3.5% or lower. That's just not real. That's not sustainable, and never make it matter. Same thing on the prices that we saw in the market. We saw in 21 and 22, where I was in a neighborhood listing a house that went for $350,000 over. This would have been a $650,000 house, and it's $1 million house a few months later simply because someone had to have it.
Yeah.
That's wrong when you see 30 to 50% appreciation year over year. That is nothing. No one here would be able to, no one who currently lives here would be able to buy a home. We'd have to worry about everybody coming in with piles of money to do that. Yeah. And it doesn't exist. Over the history of Austin's real estate market, it's pretty much a steady line with a few blips when you look at like the 80s and the oil and gas and S&L crisis, early 90s with the recession we're in as a result of that. The dot-com bust in like late 99, early 2000, all those were blips. 2008, 9, 10 were pretty much blips. And what we've seen is a steady increase in appreciation. Residential real estate continues to be one of this is how you create generational wealth, right? People who can buy a home and then stack on top of that. Maybe they buy another and they move out of that one and rent it out, and on and on and on. It's a leg up because you take that equity and you plug it into something else. It's such a great opportunity. And Austin has shown over and over again for 50, 60 years, it's a great place to buy a house, and build wealth off of that.
Well, right. And you look at 11% from the peak when the previous year was 37% increase. Stupid, right? So look, here's my prediction. And I hate to do this, but I'm going to do it.
Dave Ramsey, also known as Ryan Rodenbeck.
Yeah, well, my prediction is between now and next year, let's say next May, we have a 5% increase.
That's still healthy. I mean,
I know.
And people look at that saying, what is that? Well, look at the stock market over the last few years.
Yeah.
We're starting to see some recoveries now. But I looked at my portfolio and I'm looking at a couple things that I bought, which I thought were just going to race through, and they're still underwater.
Well, and the reason I say that is because I've read numerous articles that no matter what, we will not catch up to the supply needed. Yeah. We won't. They're just not building homes fast enough.
It's crazy to look at the inventory numbers that we have and that we look at and chirp about how it's just, it seems like we have too much and we're still way under. The Texas A&M Real Estate Center has always said, 6.5 months of inventory. And for people who don't understand what that is, it's how, if no new listings came on, it would be 0 to 6.5 months before everything's sold out.
Right.
Balanced market. We're half that. we're half that. We've been half that for 11, 12, 13 years now.
Yeah.
Probably since about late 2010, 11, we started to see inventory go down.
Let's see, what other notes did I have in here? One thing they said is not 2007.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this was interesting. 37% of income is needed to afford a mortgage payment. Now that's just Austin. That's nationally, right?
That's hard, right?
Yeah, that's hard.
I mean, you really got to cut to the bone on that.
In November of 2012, that number was 18%.
That tells you right now the affordability issue is one of the biggest things we're going to have to battle with for a decade plus.
Yeah. Zillow says they're expecting home prices to grow. The housing market's not going to crash. We haven't yet reached peak millennial first-time buyers. Yeah. Inventory is falling for most affordable homes in almost every area, and inventory is very, very tight for affordable homes. Yeah. And here's the last one. In May of 2021, 1 in 9 homes had a price cut nationally. In May of 2023, 1 in 5 homes had a price cut.
Yeah, we're still going to feel that before we get it right, because there's too many sellers who the history is not that distant in the rear view,
right.
And they're thinking that's what my home's worth and that's what I want, and it takes some lumps. And I've had this strategy with listings where if we're not on the same page, I'm giving them like 2.5 weeks now. Usually it's launch over weekend, so they'll get 3 weekends out of that before we make an adjustment. Ideally, I'd like to roll that back, but it's enough to give them a test drive when they look and say, okay, we're only averaging 4 to 5 people a week visiting, or 2 or 3 people a week for visiting. They understand the reason for that is almost always going to be price driven. Right? Sellers don't have the same options that they had of reviewing a dozen offers unless you're priced well, where buyers have lots of inventory. I spoke with an agent today on a listing, and she's got a buyer going out tomorrow. We're one of 9 homes that they're going to see. Those days, I remember those days, and we're getting back to the point where you can start stuffing those in. But it's weird. You can build a tour now where for the last 4 or 5 years, you could never do that. Something came on, you went to go see it.
That's right.
And it was one off, and that was it.
And we hear every single week in the huddles, if it's priced right, it's going to move.
Yeah.
Period.
By the way, that being able to schedule to see multiple homes, that's a normal market. That's where we should be anyway. And it's not the one where you go in and you're in a line waiting to get in to see a house with 15 other people. It's what we see now, where you actually schedule and go. Houses shouldn't sell over a weekend.
No.
It's great when they do.
Yeah.
But that's not by design how this process has been in the history.
My sister called me last night. She was driving somewhere down the street here, and she was going to see a home. And I think it just hit the market. Yesterday it was Thursday. Yeah. And the agent said they're signing a contract.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's crazy. And it's also dumb, in my opinion.
I know.
If you can sign a contract on Thursday, you can sign it on Saturday.
There's some desperation maybe for that seller.
Or for the realtor, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, you're right. There are definitely some of those things that drive me crazy as well.
Okay, so the final thing, Fool's Roll 2024. And don't name our silent partner in this, okay?
He's a good guy.
He's got a reputation to maintain. You and I don't.
The bald mamba.
Yeah. And we're going to show some overlay of some pictures on this part here. But are we still in for 24?
It was such an awesome thing. It'd be hard to turn it down.
Yeah.
It's like, it was, you know this. It's not what I expected. It was way better than I expected.
Yeah.
And I understand when Cord was talking about a lot of people claiming they're going to do it and backing out.
Yeah.
But then those that do stick around.
Yeah.
I understand. I talked to Lockie Ely did a team with Yvette Boatwright.
Yeah.
And I got there are 2 others I can't remember.
Yeah.
And she was total fear of missing out this time.
Yeah, Ashley Brinkman did too. Yeah. She texted me too.
Oh, and then your friend, the other one who's she's a team leader at RA. I can't remember her name. She's male. Amanda Dudley.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those were the 4 that did it. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, they had such a good time, and I know Cord said the shit talking they brought was pretty awesome.
All right, but next time you and I drive more,
we'll see. We got to get the Black Mamba to release the fingers off the steering wheel.
Yeah, no, we'll definitely do that.
That's one of the things. Either that, or you and I'll party a little bit more.
That's right. Yeah, right.
We'll have more fun and not have to worry about it. Do we have to, make sure we're sober so we can watch this guy drive?
Oh, right. We went 20 hours driving to the desert without having one drink.
Long time since that happened. But you also have the facility of, right? Try not to stop to have to take a leak.
We're going to get a van next year.
That's right. Need to get a Sprinter with a battery.
Yeah, right.
Still cords.
Well, thank you, my friend.
Thank you, man. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Enjoy it.
Thanks. We're done that.